Well, hey, it's Rob, and I'm going to answer the question I posed in the title of this video right now. Was Michael Jackson a good driver? The answer is no. He was a terrible driver. I got a couple good stories about that, and I will share them with you right now. So, in case you haven't seen my 20 or 30 other videos about this subject, I was a studio runner in the early 90s, a gopher. I went and got lunch, and occasionally I could set up a couple microphones or plug in a couple cables at the studio, move around equipment, stuff like that. And the studio I worked at happened to be Record One in Sherman Oaks, where Michael Jackson was recording Dangerous. So for 2 years I was there pretty much every day they were recording, watching them make that album. And for the first maybe 6 months, I want to say, Michael actually drove himself into work every day. If you look at the thumbnail picture on this video, it's a early 90s GMC Jimmy, a white Jimmy, and that's what he had. His had an extra gas tank mounted to it. I'm not sure if that was a addition that he made himself, or if the vehicles, came that way as an option. But I know it had 2 fuel tanks, and it was enough to get him from Sherman Oaks in the Valley up to Neverland Ranch without having to get out of the car. And, things that you and I can do in this life and not even think about it, get in a car and go for a drive, were very difficult for Michael Jackson. So he wanted to make it as easy as possible. He didn't want to get out of the car and have to pump gas on the side of the road and cause a scene. So he would have it taken care of, and usually it was me. I would go take his GMC Jimmy down the street to the gas station and fill it up for him, both tanks, and he would just hand me his credit card. Back then, people were more trusting, and I would just tell the attendant, I'm working with Michael Jackson. This is his credit card. Nobody ever said anything or had a call or check or do anything. They just took it at face value. Not the way it is today. So anyway, Michael drove in this GMC Jimmy, and first thing I remember is that he hit Bill Bottrell's car. Bill Bottrell, one of the producers of Black and White and the other songs on Dangerous. He just slammed right into his car in the parking lot, and I mean, what are you going to do? It's Michael Jackson, So Bill had to take his BMW in and get fixed. Soon after that, I remember he drove in and kind of rushed into the studio pretty quickly. And then I heard yelling, and I went out, and we had a gate and a wall, so you couldn't really see into the studio. That's what Michael liked about it. We had a lot of privacy there, but there was a guy banging outside and yelling, banging on the gate, saying, hey, you hit my car. So apparently Michael had rear-ended a car on the 101 freeway in Los Angeles as he was driving in, and what's he gonna do, get out and cause an international incident? So he just left the scene. The guy was following him, and Michael got in the studio, and the guy was banging on the door, and I said, hey, here's the number of his manager, this is what it is, it'll be taken care of, don't worry about it. But that was another incident he had, and I think soon after that, after a couple things like that had happened, maybe a couple more that I wasn't aware of, he stopped driving, and his manager started chauffeuring him in every morning, and that was about the last time I saw the Jimmy. But before the Jimmy went away, Michael actually drove me to Tower Records, and we went record shopping one night. I've told this story before, but we shut down the store an hour early and bought $1,500 worth of records, and it seems pretty surreal now that I hopped in the car with Michael Jackson and he drove me to the record store. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And that was the only car I ever saw, was that Jimmy. I know he owned other cars. He wasn't even good at driving remote control cars. We had these 2 remote control motorcycles that I bought for him, $900 a piece. You don't even see remote control motorcycles very often. I know I haven't. But anyway, we were playing with these remote control motorcycles, and we were in the parking lot of the studio. It was not a big parking lot. And all of a sudden, I heard like a noise. Something happened outside the gate. And one of the motorcycles got crushed by a truck that was coming down the alley. Michael thought it was very funny. I was very concerned because I was the other guy racing the motorcycle with him. They were just little remote control motorcycles. I don't even remember how they worked. But thankfully, my motorcycle was fine, and Michael's was the one that got run over by a truck. He thought it was hilarious. And those are all the stories I can think of relating to Michael Jackson. And driving was just not his thing. And like I said, back in the time when I worked with him, at some point he just gave up and had people drive him in from that point on. But he did try to drive himself for a little while at least, and just didn't go that well for him. As many things turned out later in life didn't go that well for him. But anyway, all right, wrapping it up. Thank you for checking out this video and many others like it. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.